Crystal Talk Show. J to the Crystal to the every Monday, and then you'll know. J to the Crystal to the guests every week. Talk about everything. J to the Crystal to the J to the Crystal to the J to the Crystal to the. Tune in to the Crystal Talk Show. J to the Crystal to the every Monday, and then you'll know. Crystal to the guests every week. Talk about everything. Tune in to the Bedroom Talk Show every Monday, and then you'll know.
Hey, you guys, it's your girl Crystal J, and today I'm here with a dope topic. This topic probably is not talked about enough, and that is why I decided to bring it to my platform. You guys, we're talking about the deaf community. How can we, as hearing people, be more exclusive to them? So I could not do this topic. I couldn't do this topic. Sorry, I had technical difficulties. I could not do this topic while interviewing someone who is a part of that community. You on my platform, y'all know we talk about autism. We talk about special needs all the time. But why not talk about something a little bit more different? And here we go. Hey girl, hey.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to my bedroom. And
Hi.
welcome to all my new roommates watching on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Like I said, I'm your girl, Crystal J. Don't forget to share, like, comment, subscribe, and just stay tuned for this important topic. So, Kellina, can you please tell me your story and what made you decide to be an advocate for your community?
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm super excited. So basically my story really started when I became deaf at the age of 4. However, what happened was people probably like, oh, like what happened? So I had an ear infection, unfortunately, and my family doctor prescribed antibiotic. It would specifically had an extraction. So my mom brought it to the daycare. The daycare did not follow any instruction. The same day, I actually became deaf. So how that happened was, I actually went home. The same day I went home watching TV, and next thing you know, I realized that my mom was tapping on my shoulder, and she's like, "Kalina, I've been calling you." And I looked at my mom dead in the face, like, "Mom, I can't hear you." And she's like, "What do you mean?" And I looked at her confused, and she called my grandma. My grandma was the nurse at the time, and my grandma rushed home from the hospital, and she sat down with me, did a whole bunch of assessments, which I had no idea. And so my grandma said, "Hey, this is serious. Like, Kalina can't hear me." So my grandmother called my doctor and said, "Hey, like, we need to come in tomorrow because Kalina can't hear us for some odd reason." So my family doctor said, "Okay, bring Kalina in." The next day, I went to my family doctor. He did some testing, and he literally said, "There's nothing we can do. Kalina is officially deaf." However, while I was growing up, I had a lot of difficulty communicating with the hearing community versus the deaf community. People don't know this, but I actually went to a deaf school and a hearing school at the same time. So what I did was I went to a deaf school in the morning, and in the afternoon I went to the hearing school. I actually stopped going to the deaf school in grade 3, and then I went to the hearing school for the rest of my life. People may be asking, wondering, why is that? The reason for that is because the deaf school is a little bit far from my house. Actually, it's really far, and it was very hard to tribute. And just because my mom was a young mom at the time as well, so that was very difficult for my mom to, jungle with work, school, and life. So it's very, it's hard. And the 10th school was literally down the street, like literally 5 minutes walk. So my mom said, you know what, let's put Kalina there. So we were just, I just had to stick to it. And, that experience was not fun at all, especially not just like when I left the deaf school, but overall, like education system was not very supportive. I had principals and schools who didn't believe in me. I had no role models that looked like me where I can, have to go up to someone and be like, hey, like, I need some support. I need some mentor. I never really had someone that looks like me who've been through it. And it's very unfortunate I never really had that. And yes, I did have some support from, a teacher that would come in for the deaf school board. But however, the teacher that would teach me was not consistent about being adaptable, and it was very unfortunate that they were not able to do that for me. And that's why I choose to become an advocate, because I really want to teach the younger generation who are deaf or who are hard of hearing to know that they can still achieve anything they can.
Your story is heartbreaking and amazing at the same time because it could have been prevented if the daycare would have did their job. But unfortunately, you became deaf, but you became a part of this community. So I do have some questions because I wasn't really listening. So you said school was hard. So you felt like it was no support in the hearing school for you as a deaf student.
Yeah, I never really got any support. Like they were not being advocates, I would say, because I did have an IEP, and a lot of times they always keep thinking that I'm taking advantage of it, and they say, oh no, Kalina doesn't need extra time, she's just taking advantage of it. I'm like, excuse me, and they don't understand that. So that was difficulty with that. I felt like I was being bullied by teachers alone because they were not helping me to become succeed. And like, how are you a teacher and you're not helping your student to achieve the goals, especially passing school and all that? It's just like,
That's
what are you?
sad.
Yeah, it's just
Is a kid have an
like I felt
IEP
like I was
for a
bullied.
reason? Like that's sad.
Exactly.
Like my son has an IEP and I want you to follow it. It's not about you think my child is getting more advantage. It's about it's a law and you need to give my child the same education as you. So I heard you say that you went to a deaf school. What was the difference between the hearing school and the deaf school?
The deaf school, I was able to learn more about myself, and I was able to learn what tools that would be helpful in classroom. Versus the hand school, they don't know anything. At the point where I was literally in the middle, because I remember I went to the hand school and I told my teacher like, hey, this works best for me. Can you do this? And she's like, oh my god, I didn't even thought of that. At five, I was like 6, 7 years old to have to tell a teacher how to advocate. It was just BS. Like it was just really stop because it's like you were teaching. You're supposed to be studying disability acceptable and all that while you're in teacher college or teacher school. So in my head, I'm questioning like, did you even bother taking your time to read that? And so it was just God, and I was able to find students that was like myself in the deaf school, especially learning ASL. A lot of time in the hand school, there's no ASL language courses that are option for students. And it's very unfortunate because they always put Spanish or French. And it's like, okay, but what about ASL, sign language? Because those schools are very important. And nowadays, now people are starting to realize that, oh my God, there's lack of education about the deaf community specifically, and people don't
I'm
understand.
learning ASL.
Really?
Yes, I was going to practice my hey and learn say your name. Like I could tell people that this is my son name.
Right.
That's like that's Zach. You know, I know you know people that is watching. I was spelling my son name. I've been because my son is nonverbal, so I've been trying to learn ASL. I'm going to end up taking classes, and I was supposed to go to this deaf convention that came to Atlanta, but I ended up having to work that day, and
Right.
the cool thing about the deaf convention that I was gonna go to, they was gonna have translators for hearing people. And isn't that crazy? Translators for hearing people. And I was
Yeah.
gonna be there and try to learn ASL. I think ASL should be there along with Spanish, French, or yeah, those two languages because ASL is a language of its own. American Sign Language should be taught in schools because we do have deaf kids. We do also have kids that cannot talk that use ASL. It's
Exactly.
not just the deaf kids or the deaf community that use ASL. And I think a lot of people forget that. Like it's people that's autistic that use ASL.
Yeah. And they don't realize that, especially now. I noticed that even babies are picking up sign language faster than anybody else, and I'm like, oh wow, like, and especially old people, especially old elderly are starting to use it now because they can't speak, and people don't realize that a lot of times.
You know what? I have a little quick story. So the reason why this topic was important to me for two reasons. A, my son is nonverbal and I want him to learn ASL. But also, I work at a hotel. If y'all don't know, and I had this deaf couple. I'm screaming nets, 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 not realizing they're deaf, and they start signing each other. And I said, "Oh, they're speaking sign language." So I asked them to come on, and I signed them. I can't remember what I signed them, but I ended up talking to them in ASL. Do you not know how excited they was? They didn't have to write anything down. I have another customer. He normally come in, and I kind of learned. I'm not fluent in ASL, a
Right.
little bit. I can know what you're saying, and I talked to him. He was so excited. He said, "Oh, I don't have to write." I said, "Yeah," and I think that right there showed me that ASL is just as important as English.
I agree. I agree. Definitely. Definitely is definitely because like for me, like I'm literally like I had to learn all over again because when I was little I knew it all, but now I don't. But I'm slowly getting there. And it's true because a lot of like deaf people feel like no one understand how difficult it is for us to understand and communicate with the hearing community.
I would love to learn ASL in school. My mother, yes. So I know her, and her mom is actually going to sign me up for some free ASL classes that this lady
Oh,
hosts. Yeah, and
nice.
her she has an autistic son, so she wanted to learn for her autistic grandson, just in case she needs to know it. And her mom is awesome. So yes, ASL. Yeah, I even know we had comments, you guys. I forgot. I have got to write. I got writing done, and gotta listen to the rest tonight. Oh, you got writing to do? Well, I'm happy that you're going to enjoy her story, and I hope that she always inspire people because she also have a book, you guys, for the deaf community. So
I
we're going to get
do.
into
I do
that.
have a book.
Yep. So, what is the most? And when I say this, anybody, I'm not being rude, but this is a question. What is the most ignorant thing you have seen with you using ASL?
Oh gosh. I think this is the number one that I think a lot of people don't understand. When they try to use slang or gang sign, I'm like, what are you doing? That's not a ASL. They try to be like, oh, this is W, this is this. I'm like, whoa, put your finger down. If you don't know ASL, don't do it. And so I guess I feel like that's the number one ignorance because a lot of like ASL and the deaf community feel like people are making fun of their language.
Hold on. I'm trying to make sure I understood that question. You got me really good. I never get got. So you're saying when you see somebody use gang signs, right? Or you're saying
Yeah.
that you feel that as a ASL user and as a person in the deaf community, you feel that when somebody use the gang signs, they are disrespecting ASL or deaf people.
Yeah. They both,
Can you
both
touch on that more?
disrespecting and so I remember one time I think a friend of mine, I don't remember who told me the story, but she was walking on the street and and she's seen a guy signing and she realized it was like a gang sign and she was like, what are you doing? And I guess she must have said something, but then she's verbal and she said, no, that's not ASL. What are you trying to do? And I think it was in a school community. I think she was in a school. I'm pretty sure she was in school. And I guess the kid must have knew she was deaf and that's ASL, but she also speaks too. And he would go up to her like, "Hey, guess what I'm saying?" And she's like, that's not ASL. And she felt really disrespected. She's like, "Why are you throwing game sign at me, knowing I'm not, part of that community?" And she felt really disrespected because she felt like he was coming after her or attacking her in a way, and she was just like, okay, like So I would have felt really awkward in that position because I would have literally like snapped at that guy and be like, listen, this is not your style. It's not something you make fun of, and it's not something you can used against people who are deaf, especially those who are using and stuff, because you don't want to scare them away and freak them out. Like, oh my God, what if he means this? Because there's so many different meanings in different ASL, and a lot of people ASL different ways. So that's why a lot of people need to be careful when they're doing ASL.
I know there's a lot of different slang in ASL. Like I'd be trying to learn it, and I'm like, hold up. Like I taught my son can I play on my tablet? I haven't used it with him in over a month, so I kind of forgot it. But I noticed when I kept doing it, I was learning it. Like so far, only thing I'm really fluent in is Zach, but I don't really use ASL because I'm not good. I don't feel like I'm good at it, but I guess that is an interesting way to look at it. Cause I seen a TikTok and this girl, I follow a lot of I follow the deaf community. I follow like at least four black women who are deaf and they use ASL in their TikToks. She was telling it she's deaf and she's used signs and she taught. Was
Okay.
telling a story about she was using ASL. Her and her friends they came from the club and somebody at gunpoint her try to like harm them because they thought that the deaf friends and her was using gang signs. And I was like, wow, that's deep.
No.
I was like, and I was like, that's deep that we don't recognize when ASL is being used. Even at my job, when
Yeah.
the deaf couple that my coworker kept saying next, I said, baby, they deaf. They deaf. They don't
Yep.
hear you. They
Mhm.
don't they don't they don't
Yep.
they don't hear you. You have to. Yeah, and I don't think the world, and even in today's time, I pray that the world is becoming more nice to understand your community and understand
Mhm.
just how to be more fluent. Even if you don't understand, like I already, I've been paying attention to the deaf community lately. I know it's a way you guys can order to drive through. You guys come right to the window and you write your order or you
Right.
sign them. So I've been taking
Right.
time to like learn that as well. Like, so how do y'all do things? And I just
Right.
research it. Like, just like the blind community, everybody have to be more accepting. And your the topic is how can we be more inclusive to the deaf community? I have
Uh,
one answer. How about we learn the
uh,
basics?
yeah, I would say honestly, the number one thing I definitely do your research. That's one. Two, volunteer your time. Use your time to volunteer at the deaf community. You know, there's so many communities. There's so many volunteering you can do, and people don't really realize that there's a lot of opportunity that we need, and we do need a lot of people to volunteer with us because we do need a lot of communication to improve for the deaf community and the hearing community. So definitely use your time to volunteer, and also too, if you really want to learn something, learn it. Especially if you want to learn airsoft, go ahead. There's so many free classes you can learn. There's so many YouTube videos that you can watch.
I
YouTube
was just
now
about
is
to ask
popular.
you. g- Give us some resources, girl, where we can go learn us some ASL. I was looking up classes. It's gonna cost me about three because I really want to learn for my personal reasons. Girl, my ASL cards are in the living room. I have a whole bunch. I have an ASL like cards to learn sign language, y'all. When I tell you, I'm not playing.
Mhm.
This mean playing, y'all.
Yeah.
Playing. So I be trying to learn it,
Mhm.
but it's really hard for me. But I'm realizing it's a mindset thing. So I gotta take my time to learn it. So, so I know this much, y'all.
Exactly.
So, do anybody have any questions for her? Like, and before we get into the questions, even on TikTok, you guys can ask questions. What made you write the book? That's number one. That's my first question. My second question is, are you trying to go into the school and advocate for the deaf community, the deaf students that need your assistance?
Yes. So, the reason why I wrote a book is based on both questions. Have you ever read a book by a deaf author? 90% of the hearing community I ever met, they tell me no. So I thought to myself, why not just write a book for the hearing community? Because I actually have a lot of networking with a lot of hearing community, and I know a lot of people, and so I do really want to break the stigma with the hearing people, and especially teaching them that lesson, like, you are not going through the worst in your life. There are other people who's actually going through worse than you, and you will see it based on my book saying, oh my god, like, Kalina really taught us so much about the deaf community. And two, I always inspire, third, encourage people to uplift themselves no matter what they are going through, and like whether you have disability or not, it doesn't matter. That's why I wrote my book. And second thing, yes, I actually spoke to one school. I did a workshop with the one student, a deaf school actually, a deaf school, and it was amazing, tomorrow experience ever. And the students were being inspired by me, and I actually do. I am actually sorry. I actually have a second presentation for a deaf school in New Jersey. So we should be coming up pretty soon. I think that will be in September because now we're on summer break. So I'm super excited for that.
So this question is not about the deaf community. So this is about you. So being a deaf woman, right? How is it dating? Because for me, girl, it is terrible.
I love that question so much because
Thank
I
you.
love dating. I love going out. I'm being honestly, to be
Are
honest
you
with everybody,
single? Are you
I
single?
am
Are you
single.
girl?
I
Me
am single.
too, girl. But
Girl,
it's
don't worry,
hard
we're
in
on the
these
same
streets,
page.
girl. It's hard in these streets. But
It's
back to you, back
hard.
to you. Yes,
It's
it's so
hard.
hard.
It's so hard. I think honestly, when I first started dating,
Hmm.
I was nervous because I did not know when was the right time to tell someone that I was deaf. I don't tell whoever I'm talking to or dating until 3 or 4 months within the relationship because I do want to take my time to get to know the person. Yeah, I'm very because
I'm
my
gonna
guard is
stop
so
you right.
up.
Hold up, right? I'm gonna stop right there. 3 4 months. This is not me being ignorant. They can't tell that you're deaf by the way you talk,
They
or
don't
they don't see,
tell.
or
It's so
they don't
funny.
see the, or they don't see
It's
the hearing
funny. No,
aids.
because I always what happened when I was younger. I would always I always wear like curly hair. I always wear curly hair, so they wouldn't know. So my hair was always curly, and I always had it. Yeah, so they don't realize until we actually go out on dates and stuff, and they realize I'm not picking up the words. And so I'm be like, yeah, I'm actually deaf, and they're like, oh, okay. And some guys will be ignorant, and they will like go to me and be like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. And I'm like, okay, no problem. That's your loss. I don't care. And so
I have a
I
deaf cousin,
oh, that's nice.
and she's fully ASL. She doesn't speak. She's deaf, not talking. She
Right.
just straight ASL.
Mhm.
Um, I did not. Her name is Abigail. I
Oh, that's a
I
beautiful
don't
name.
know her that well because my mom's side. She's older, but when I do see her in person, we talk through the phone,
Mhm.
and that's
It's hard.
crazy that they can't tell by the way you talk. Like
That's
you
the
said,
one thing.
you said
That's the
three
one
four months.
thing. That's the one thing I always tell everybody, especially guys. Be careful how you represent yourself in front of women because if you are that type of person that's gonna go ghost because the woman is different from you, like you're gonna have a problem later on down the road. And for me, honestly, yes, I used to do 3 4 months when I was younger, but now that I'm 25, I don't give up anymore. Before I used to be so care like I used to care so much, and I guess because I was just I don't know I was young and stupid. But now I think ever since when I was 19 to 25, like I just show up my hair in it like I don't care anymore. And to the point where I'm just like, you have to love me for me. And I always tell
Amen.
myself that
That's why when you said 3 4 months in, I'm like, what, girl?
yeah, because it's too much, and I realize it's draining for me. And it's like, why should I hide who I am? And that's when I
That
realized I had
sounds
enough.
draining. I was like, you wait 3 4 months to tell a dude that girl, I could never. I have
I
alopecia.
know.
I don't. Well, actually, I understand because I have
Mhm.
alopecia, and I normally don't tell guys I have alopecia for what. It doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. You, it's not gonna
I
hurt.
feel it's because I guess because it's not just me actually. A lot of disability people feel like they don't want to put a lot of pressure onto someone who they just starting meeting up with because we care more about the connection than you looking at what we look like from the outside. I like to learn from someone from the heart. I want someone to know me from the heart, not just to know me from by I'm deaf. And a lot of time, the way the society is, that's what it is. People only judge you based on your look, and they don't understand you have a good heart. And it's just sad because I've been
People
taken
judge you
advantage of
based on your
before.
disability and not the character.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you trying to say, girl. I got you. I got you. Next question. Um, when it comes to your self care. Like, have it when the nail tech like notice just asking because I seen this on TikTok too. Notice that you are hard of hearing. Do they try to play you with how much it costs?
No, because my hairdresser, I have two hairdressers. So my godmother and the hairdresser. And she literally straight up asked me, like, she wasn't, sugarcoat. She said, hey, like, Kellina, how can we do your hair? For example, today, I did my hair like this. But because she needed me to take out my hairnet and my glasses, so she's like, take this off, please. But, like, nicely, but not rude, Like, she
Okay,
doesn't sound like,
so it's people you trust. It's people you trust. Okay,
yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah, that's it. I don't go to nobody random unless I have to. Unless I have to take out my hair, then I would go to a random hairdresser and be like, "Hey, take out my hair." But other than that, I know a lot of them try to not to make it look obvious. That's what they do a lot of time, especially random people.
I think I missed some comments. Somebody said sending you love and I will listen to share tonight. Don't forget to hit the like button. Yes. I agree. Please hit the like button. Please share. Please comment because her story is amazing. Let me tell you why it's amazing. Let me break down her story for you. Number one, she wasn't born deaf. That's number one. But what did she do? What did she do in her story, y'all? This is her real life story. I just narrate things differently. She beat the odds. She became who she is today. She's an author. She became an advocate for something that she was not born with that happened in a tragic situation because daycare did not do their job. How many daycares don't do their job today? That's a lot of daycares. How many deaths do we hear about somebody dying in a heated car? Tragic. But her story is amazing because she beat the odds. Did y'all not hear her say her teachers thought she was not going to be anything? Did y'all hear that
Mhm.
part?
Yeah.
Nobody believed in her. She had to talk to her principal, come up with ways at 6 years old to tell you, just work better for me. This is how you can teach me. To tell an adult, did y'all not hear her story? And I want us to take time to like go to the replay, rewatch it, and listen to what she said. Because sometimes we let life get the best of us and we don't try to look at the positive. Look at her. Like, I'm sorry, y'all. Look at her. I gotta mirror my camera, but look at her and listen to her story. And a way that we can make it more exclusive for the deaf community, in my opinion, is by taking time to learn the basics, two, researching. And if you see somebody and it seems like they're hard of hearing, maybe they are. And we should take the time to really see what they want versus yelling at them because they probably can't hear. Or they probably got the hearing aid cut off. And they just didn't realize they had the hearing aid cut off. My coworker just was recently, she's semi-deaf. She was just diagnosed not too long ago, and she had to cut her hearing aid on. And when her hearing aid are on, she can't hear you in that ear.
Mhm.
She partially deaf. I
Yeah.
think I'm saying it right. If you watching, I hope I said it right, girl.
Okay.
And we have to be more compassionate
Yes.
as humans. Like if somebody tell you they're hard of hearing, don't yell. Just figure out how to communicate with them the best way they communicate. That is my suggestion for how we can be more exclusive in the deaf community. And just research, learn the basics, learn how to say your name, learn how to say, "Hey, my name is." I didn't
Yeah.
gotta say exact name because I've been trying to make him learn his name. So yeah. So do you have any ways that the roommates or your viewers or your audience or my audience can learn ASL more?
I would say the best thing is YouTube. I feel like it's very basic and straightforward. So, for example, if you want to learn how to say my name, especially if you want to learn it super quick and fast, 'cause I know a lot of people don't always have the time or energy to go into a class. So, I would say YouTube is the fastest way if you are someone who don't have patience. Because believe me, I know a lot of people don't really have patience to go to classes. So, definitely use ASL. And second thing I would say is don't be afraid to really talk to a deaf person. I know a lot of deaf, I mean, sorry, hearing community feel so nervous when they come across a deaf person, especially myself. Like, I'm very outgoing, I'm very outspoken. I'm like, hi, how are you? And they're like, wait, Clea, you're deaf? Oh my god. I don't know. It's okay to be surprised. It's okay. It happened. And it's very rare to see a lot of deaf community interact with the hearing community. It's very rare. So I do want you to know that. Don't be surprised. That's it. And we will appreciate you even asking us, how can we accommodate you better? How can we help you? Because that'd be really, cause believe me when I say this, it showed us that you really care about your advocacy for us and you want to communicate with us. So definitely, definitely don't be afraid to ask, like, hey, how can we help you? How can we communicate better? Don't be afraid.
I love it. Okay. So I have to end this episode off right. You guys, y'all know me. How can we find your book? How can we support you? Roommates, I need y'all to support her. How can we support you?
I would say everybody should support me by, doing the research and second, support my book. My book is on Amazon. It's called Every Day I Am Just Deaf. No matter where you are in the country in the world, you can order it on Amazon. I would appreciate everybody to buy the book and really study my book because I give you so much knowledge and so many wisdom. Like, whoa, like Kalina have been through so much, and I really do want you to guys support the book so that you can help the deaf community as well, not just for me, but also for other people. Because you never know who you're gonna come across, especially if your family members or your child's gonna be deaf. You just not know. Just like me, I became deaf out of nowhere.
Girl, you became deaf at 4 years old because a daycare didn't do their job. Like,
Yeah.
I know your mom probably did not sue them, but I
Oh,
would have.
oh.
I would have sued them. Girl. One more time. The book is called um,
Every day I am
Every
just
Day
deaf.
I Am Every Day I Am Just Deaf.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it one more time, you guys. It's called Every Day I Am Just Deaf. I want you guys to go on Amazon.com in your country and buy it. And if you're watching on Amazon, yeah, I know I'm
I'm
on
a deaf.
Amazon. Yeah, I know I'm on the Amazon app. If you watch it on Amazon TV, hey, now go on your app and buy this book. Every Day I Am Just Deaf. What you said, right?
Yes.
That grab a copy, support my guests, and I hope that you continue to educate, advocate for the deaf community, and I hope you get into the schools. I hope that your whatever your goals are for advocating for the deaf community, I hope it happens because when you become an advocate, it's like every day we're trying to change the world one book or one interview at a time because we share a little bit. We both are advocates and different disabilities, but we both have books and we're both trying to raise awareness one book or one interview at a time.
I agree.
Thank you. And all these comments, you guys, amazing. Like, thank you guys. I work with individuals who need support in the community for 21 years. Cheers to you because number one, you supported the community for 21 years. Like
Hmm.
people have been deaf for a long time. It's just unfortunate that ASL is still not as fluent as it should be. Um, but I think in the next 10 years, I see more people hearing people using sign language, saying hey. I know everybody know one word, the bad word, but how about we use that energy to use other words? To learn other
Yeah.
words. That's what I meant. Learn other words. Like this mean thank you. I know everybody know the
Yeah.
other one, but this mean thank you. Like you can say
Hmm.
thank you to somebody.
Thank you.
Like
Yeah.
that's what I said to my guest. Thank you. Like
Awesome. Please.
we can go over a little sign language. I'm gonna teach you a little bit of what I know. This mean please,
Yeah.
you guys. This mean play.
Hmm.
This mean can, right?
Yeah. Can.
Can. And when you say you point to the person, or he or she, you point to the person.
Yeah.
Um,
You
this,
know
this is
this
what I
one.
taught my son, y'all.
You know
Can
this one. I love
can
you.
I play?
Yeah.
I
And I
forgot.
I love you.
Oh yeah, I love you.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is what I taught my son, y'all.
Yeah. People say I love you, so
Right. Wait, do it again.
I love you. Yeah.
Yes.
I love you.
That's the one I didn't know. I didn't know that one.
Yeah. I love you.
So for I know this is played and just
Yeah. Play and then I love you. D is hard, guy. Trust me. Learning Aristotle is hard. Not easy.
I be trying to make it fun. Like I try.
Yeah.
Like I've been
Okay.
trying to teach my son that teacher hit me.
Oh.
That been the hardest one. I just want me to learn that. I think you say teacher like how you say teacher?
I don't even know the like that much for teacher. I don't even
Shoot.
remember how to say
I know
teacher. I'm
teacher.
still learning too.
I know hit. And then
We're still on the boat. We're still on the same
my
boat.
mom was like, "Why you trying to make your son learn teacher hit me?" Because my son is nonverbal. I need him to tell me if the teacher hit. But yeah, I think it's teacher. I forgot. It was something. I was like,
Right? It's always something because every sign is so similar to something else. So a lot of time that's why people forget so easily when it comes to sign. It's just constantly like there's so many ways of saying different things. That's the problem. And I'm like, wait, I thought I was reading this way. And they're like, no, you can also do
it's
this. I'm like,
so many ways. Like I'd be like, somebody was trying to teach me something. Like my coworker who's like partially deaf. We
mm-hmm.
be trying to like go over sign language when we're not busy at work. And I'd be like, it's too much. But I be trying because I want to be able to communicate with my son if I fully choose to make him learn ASL. So yeah. So do you have any closing words that you want to add to this amazing episode? TikTok, you had no questions. So TikTok, thank you guys for watching. I'll be back next Monday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And we'll see you later on TikTok. Alrighty. So, do you have any final words to say to my roommates?
Definitely. My last final word I would say is don't be afraid to use your voice to encourage yourself, inspire other people. Little do you know, there's going to be someone out there that's going to need your voice. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself.
You know what, y'all? You can use that for any industry, anything. You can use that for life. Like, stand up for yourself. And if you see somebody who probably is hard of hearing or deaf, I'm trying to use the correct terms because I'm never trying to offend a community. So if I and doing this episode, if I offended anyone of the deaf community, I want to take the time to say sorry for my lack of ignorance. Okay. But if you see anybody struggling, help them. Try to understand them and lend a helping hand. Like it's not that hard. I think sometimes we make things harder than they need to be. And why? Why? Like learning ASL for me is kind of fun. Like if you
Hmm.
want to ask me, saying my son's name is the funnest part to me. Well, his nickname, his name is too long to do in sign
Okay.
language, so I just do Zach.
Okay. Whew.
I'm not, I haven't. I haven't even done the rest. I was like, that's too long. And my name is long too. It's 7 letters.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so my son is 4. So it just ZACH. Like, I don't know if y'all can
Yes.
see it. H. Like, it's
Yeah.
so easy.
Easy.
Easy. Did y'all see how quick I just did that? If you take time, you can do it too. I just know a small amount.
Yeah.
Like
Same.
thirsty, eat,
Yep. Yeah, I know this is thirsty. Yeah.
yeah, thirsty. Or
Yeah.
thirsty or eat. Like,
Yeah. Eat. Yeah. And
yeah.
then,
Drink
yeah.
more. That's more.
Yep.
That's the time my son uses all the time. More. Um,
More.
juice.
Use. Yeah.
Water.
Oh, yeah. Water.
I think this is dad.
Yeah. Ma.
Mom.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I forget grandpa and grandma.
I think grandpa and then grandma.
Grandpa and grandma.
Yeah. They're different ways because I know someone said this way and then I was like, oh, again, you guys need to learn their stuff. I'm learning too. We're on this the same boat.
Well, it was so great interviewing you. I enjoyed it. I hope everybody else enjoyed this episode. Once again, you guys, my name is Crystal J, and I'm your host. And if you like this episode, like, share, comment, subscribe. Don't forget about her book. Every Day I Am Just Deaf. Buy her book on Amazon. And her name, if you're listening, is Kellina. I I messed that up, y'all. It's Kellina. And her last name is Powell. The name of the book again is called Every Day I Am Just Deaf. So let's support her. Support me by liking and subscribing to my channel so I can keep inviting dope guests like this right here. Like, like I know you guys like it because I be reading the comments. And I'm your girl, Crystal J. And thank you for watching. We're out. Bye. And see me next Monday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Bye. Oh, you guys, wait out before I get off. Next week, we're talking about herpes.
Ooh. Ooh.
Let me say it one more time. Next week, we're talking about herpes. And we're talking about removing the stigma when it comes to herpes. Yes, next Monday at 7
Ooh.
o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I want to just drop that so y'all can be ready to sip your tea. I have two A positive. They're positive. They have herpes women who are advocates. And we're going to talk about it. Last year I talked about herpes, but this year I brought two more black queens who's going to talk about herpes super open. Like they're open about their status, and most of us are not open about our status. So before I ended this live, I had to say that because I'm like, what I'm talking about next week. I be having so many episodes. I have episodes booked to October, and I be trying to remember them. But next week is herpes. So go get tested, and come back Monday at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time when we talk about herpes. Like, we gonna be positive. Don't be rude to my guests, because I will block you. That's it. Bye, guys.
Crystal to the